Well, my guest today is the absolutely fabulous actress and comedian Helen Lederer. Delighted she's here. Come on, lovely friend.
Oh,
how are
Vanessa.
you?
Oh, and
On the pink sofa.
I will. It's so pink here.
It's very pink. Is it too pink for you?
Well, I have dressed down because I knew you'd be pink. Pink, pink, pink. Pink.
Yes.
Look.
Everything pink. But you always wear black, though.
No, I do, and I do admire because you've got you can go paisley. Look at your shoes. Everything glitters. There's not one part of you that hasn't been adorned with shiny things.
That's so true, but I think just sprinkle a sequin on life. Life can be bleak and miserable, depressing, distressing, and you can just pink it up a bit and have a few, kind of make it at least seem jolly.
I know. I respect that.
Yes.
And I know you can go turquoise.
I can.
And you can go blue.
Coral, I can go peach. I can do a lemon if I really have to. Lemon,
Ooh, I can see you
Chartreuse,
in lemon.
I can do. Creme de menthe.
It's oozing.
Colours, I love colour.
I respect that, Vanessa.
Yes.
Let's not argue.
No, I'm not
so
arguing.
Pleased to be
Yes.
here. I love you very much. It's great to be here. I think if you just do black, this is like made out of lining material, and then you just know where you are because then you don't have to think. Jean Muir always wore black. And as long as you've got the hair in place on your head, bit of lipstick.
Your head is a good place.
Got the head, it's good to arrive at that. Then you just have the lip, and that's it, done. Job done.
I think you look very svelte, very, very elegant, and I'm very pleased you're here. Now, look, you are somebody that everybody recognises and everybody knows. If I say, among many, many other things, from Ab Fab.
People do say from Ab Fab, don't they? I think I do also have one of those faces that people think they know me.
Because they do.
Well, they think that sometimes people think I'm their dentist. That's happened. Obviously, I'm not a dentist. It wouldn't be a good route for me to go down. But it is odd, isn't it? Because with, not that I'm bitter, it is the fact that I segued there, so obviously forgive me. But the point of that is, I've been around. I've just been around during a lot of things.
You certainly have. Well, let's have a look at you in Ab Fab, then they'll know you're not their dentist. So this is Helen. She's not your dentist, she's not your hairdresser. No, she's never come to do your pedicures or anything like that. This is Helen in Ab Fab.
Right, my name is Katriana. And I don't think I have actually got the menopause. Although I do have to do the checklist before I leave the house to ensure I don't go out without my trousers on. Again.
And you have talked about the book. Your book is called I'm Not Bitter.
Not That I'm Bitter.
Not That I'm Bitter. And some people will think, are you a bit?
Yeah, they might.
Are you a little bit? Because if you call it that, it's almost as if you might be protesting a bit too much.
No, I know. But then also I was intending or for some irony because I think, life, I do like irony. And I think if you're largely, I just wanted to make people laugh. And I know you've been kind enough.
It's funny, and I have laughed.
And so therefore on the title, you do want a kind of double take. But then when I did interviews about it afterwards, there was a very young posh journalist, wonderfully intelligent, said, but aren't you angry? And I thought, well, I wasn't until you said perhaps I should be. So I'm not angry, I'm not bitter, but I do find life quite absurd, and I think it's really important to laugh at the bad bits as well, or the less good bits, and find them funny. It's my life's work.
It's certainly true, though, that when you meet comedians in real life, and I don't know whether people really get the opportunity to do that very often. I've had the misfortune to interview rather too many of them.
Have you?
And lots of them are miserable as hell.
Oh, no.
Not just miserable, but they're always saving their best material, so they'll never give it to you in the interview. So you sit there with a very serious comedian being rather miserable.
Dull.
And you think, oh, for God's sake, do I have to be funny to persuade people to come and see your show?
Yes.
So that's not you, because you are funny in real life.
I love meeting people, and I like being in the moment and getting very excited, and I like a glass of wine. And yes, I don't save myself. I think I'm a bit out there.
Definitely not saving the best material, because you are funny in real life. But also, you were in the situation where, comedy is very funny, but not when it's your actual business. You're trying to make a living doing it. And there was almost a sort of, is it fair enough to say, like a fatwa on female comics when you started out,
Yeah.
like only a very, very few were allowed to trickle through, and they were the female comics, and you were sort of just slightly to the left or to the right of where they were allowed to be in the middle, sort of thing.
Yeah, but I think nobody, when we decide to do what we do, we don't go, I'm going to do it now and make a point and flag wave about women and stuff. I just began writing and performing and being a stand-up when I did.
Yeah.
And that was just when, and the climate was, and you know this, at the time, I don't think it was out of any malevolence. It was just not normal for women to drive their own content and write their own material and get their own shows, unless they were impressionists largely.
Well, people used to say women aren't funny.
Yes.
I mean, they really would say it in public, and they would say it with a great deal of oomph.
Well,
and they would also say, you know, if she's trying to be funny, why doesn't she just be quiet? I mean, there's a lot of that, wasn't there?
No, there was a climate. And I do remember a very high-up person at the BBC way back actually went to events and said, don't laugh, this is the wife.
Yeah.
And you just go,
Exactly.
I'm laughing slightly hysterically now. But, I mean, it's different now. But at the time, you know, when I was doing stand-up or monologues at Naked Video, that was 10 years before Bridget Jones, and Bridget Jones was 10 years or whatever before Phoebe.
Yeah.
You know, there just weren't many individual women. It's not like it's just how it was.
But it was almost as if you're allowed Victoria Wood, you're allowed Dawn French, you're allowed Jennifer Saunders. Those are the funny women in this country, and nobody else is really going to be accorded that level of respect, that level
They're queens.
Yeah, they're the queens. Yeah.
And deservedly so. But at the time, I've talked to other contemporaries like Doon McKinnon and from Smack the Pony and stuff, and I did the Hay Festival, very posh literary festival. I thought, I don't want to be angry. It's not attractive to be angry. But we did have similar experiences of sort of turning up the BBC with our scripts. And then with contemporary subject matter, because after all, we comment about the world we're in. That's what comedians do. And then, of course, that we weren't very good, can't go there, or the jobs were filled. And so I agree with you. But what can you do? You just, I'm old now.
What you have done is have the last laugh by working solidly all the way through.
I crack on.
If they didn't write something for you to be in, you wrote it yourself.
Yes.
You know, if they wrote something starring someone else, you were still in it somehow. You were always somehow
I was lucky.
out there schlepping it around, weren't you?
I slapped it around, as you so beautifully put.
Lyrical phrase.
So lyrical. But I was lucky to be given the jobs at the time that people have heard of. So, I mean, I just love a job.
Yeah.
You know, I've got jobs. I just love, I think, new people, new challenges.
Absolutely. But let's talk about work, because we're going to get into our first topic now. Do you think women are still passed over, sidelined, stereotyped, stuck in a box? Obviously metaphorical, not a real one, at work. Did you find yourself passed over for promotion? Maybe you were patronised. Maybe they put upon you. Maybe you were always asked to just go and make the tea or the coffee. Or did you feel that you gave the men a run for their money? Do get your calls in now. The number's 0207 862 2222. Now, Helen worked, as she says, comedy, stand-up comedy, absolutely a male-dominated environment, an environment in which women were, in most cases, barely tolerated and certainly not taken with the seriousness that they would be taken now. Did you feel that you were having to sort of fight the whole time and, you know, be tougher than them and better than them?
I didn't feel that at the time, because I think I was so passionate about wanting to do this very strange job about writing your own material and then performing it to strangers and trying to avoid any of the heckles that obviously that was normal at the time. I think that talking to other women now on the literary festivals, when I talk about Not That I'm Bitter, I'm amazed how many other women have had similar experiences. And there's no point being bitter about it because it's done. I mean, think about Annie Nightingale, you know, a forerunner of cool, Radio 1. Chic, knowledgeable. There were just few kind of figurehead women. And so you had to be quite particular, I think, to be seen, and then the rest of the people are still as good.
Just pray our daughters and granddaughters don't even understand what we're talking about here. That would be good. Let's talk to Tommy in London. Hello there. On the phone. Hi. Tommy?
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi. Thanks for having me on your show.
It's a pleasure. It's really good to have you on the show. Tell me about what happened to you at work and whether you were in danger of being passed over.
Honestly speaking, I think that happens a lot in the workplace. And some companies try to be intentional when it comes to, you know, women being seen, being promoted and having equal opportunity as men. But as much as they try, the truth is it's not really the same. In my experience, most of the projects and the companies I've worked in, I realized that for you to be seen, for you to be promoted, to get the advantage you want, you have to be very assertive. When I say assertive, not just passive. And you have to remember that even at workplace, you're not allowed to come across angry or aggressive.
That's exactly what Helen's saying.
To...
Exactly. You can't be angry. You can't look like you're vengeful. You can't be...
Even in life, people avoid... I think they go, oh, bad mood, I'll just go and talk to the person who's a bit, more sunny.
Absolutely. Tell me, what kind of work were you in? What line of work?
I'm in IT, so I work as an IT business analyst and a project manager. So I've seen it all on projects, and it's quite interesting. For example, Accenture is a very good company that tries to make women sing, if you know what I mean.
Good.
Luckily, maybe because the CEO is Julie Sweet, she's a woman, so she is very, very pro-women in the workplace.
Yeah.
And they try to balance that. But then, even at that, as a woman, you just need to be assertive. You need to speak out. You need to show what you're doing, how you're doing well. Because in the meetings, when the men are talking, they might be talking absolute, not making a lot of sense, but they listen to them. But if it's a woman, they will want to shut it up as quick as possible, but you have to stand your ground.
Couldn't agree more. And you're absolutely right.
suggestions.
Thank you so much for ringing. I mean, she really does have a point.
I understand that. And I think you particularly are very assertive because you've got a very, very quick brain. And I just think, I still think there's ways of connecting or producing your work so that it's unavoidable, so that people are engaged with it. You just have to engage.
I don't know. You say that you think I'm assertive, but I've been in all sorts of situations at work over the years, obviously some
But you're
while
always
ago.
right, though, because of the brain.
But where people would say, where bosses would say, I'd say, what's happened to this kind of part of the programme, or what occurred at that? And I'd be told, well, don't you worry your head about that. We're going to paint your dressing room pink. That'll be nice.
What would you say?
I love the colour of the dressing room, but I'm asking about the way the show's put together.
Yes.
Just explain to me what happened here and what happened there. And then they look at me like, just run along. That's really not your concern. And and then you think, well, do I stand my ground? Do I get more emphatic? Do I just slink off to my pink dressing room and enjoy it?
I know. I can't believe that I'm sounding like an old-fashioned person because I'm not an old-fashioned person. But I think you have to go. You can't win on everything, but you have to win on some of the things. And I don't think it should be war because you're just going to make yourself very unhappy.
Exactly, but it's very annoying when you see that men who are assertive, who stand their ground,
they wouldn't have
who
to
claim the best desk, who say that they did the project even when you did it.
No, I can.
They're kind of ascending and you're not, and it's really annoying.
Oh, you're making me angry now. I arrived all calm.
I might cut your piece of cake in a minute to calm you down.
I want some.
On X, Elizabeth says, no, I don't think we're passed over at all. She says, men and women have been treated the same everywhere I've worked. We were either all treated badly or we were all treated nicely, depending on the boss we had at the time. And Fenty says, in competitive male-dominated environments, the lack of recognition doesn't always come from men. It can be other women who are under pressure to prove themselves, who struggle to support or acknowledge their female peers. And Helen's really nodding at that. When the system encourages competition over collaboration, it can create a culture where solidarity slips through the cracks. There's a need to shift the narrative from scarcity to support so that women feel empowered not only to succeed, but to champion each other. I mean, do you think that women have championed each other in the field of comedy?
I think the current climate of women now, because there are more of them, it would be normal. I think it's just norms. It's more normal now. I run Comedy Women in Print, and that is to enable a vibe where women are supportive of each other and respecting that we're all different. So we have to be unique and different and supportive. Not just got all women are the same, so therefore we're going to, be of one voice. I think we're, it's a broad church of what we do and how we contribute to things.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your calls on that.